Okay, we're back. We're all cleaned up. I brushed on some of that rust converter onto this thing. This cheap piece of insurance. Why not? And the box is right here. Just gonna set all this up. Now I'm not gonna pour tonight because number one is I'm tired. And number two is that I want all this rust converter set up real good, and then I'm going to hit it with some high temp paint, and just again cheap insurance policy. So we'll keep everything going smoothly. It never helps to get in a hurry for anything, really. Particularly nothing like this. You want to kind of think about what you're doing and do it right the first time, I guess. Now, maybe I confused you guys, and I want to clarify something. I'm going to be pouring from this side. The reason I made the lid was because this has to be pretty much perfectly flat when I'm done. So when I fill all this in, I'll smooth it out, make it, but the bottom line is, I put the lid on, screw it down, take it back off. I can see where there are imperfections and fix those imperfections. So when this is going to seal up against the other pour, and it has to be a good seal. That's just the bottom line. So that's how that happens, and that's why this is why we need the lid. Oh. When we go back to the door, you'll see what a nice job this stuff does as far as a primer for rusted surfaces. It's really good stuff. And you know, again, you want something to last. The rust is not your friend, even though this is not really subject to a whole lot of rusting because it's, number one, it's in a dry place. Number two, it's very, very hot. Whenever it's operating, this thing is, you know, extremely high temp. So it shouldn't really, but it will rust. Everything rusts under the right circumstances, and it's certainly no exception. Now, what we're going to do, this is a Sonotube. Actually, Sonotube's brand name, but it's just a 8-inch form tube. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it in here and set it as squarely as we can on the hole that is there, okay? Then, this has to be held in place. You can't just pour around it without something holding it. So what we're going to do first is we are going to cut it, and in order to do that, kind of tricky to cut one of these bad boys because, frankly, it's deceptive because it's round. So what I do is I go around and I make little marks, and then I play connect the dots. Seems to work for me, kind of okay, I guess. You know, I still haven't centered it because that's not important right now. Just making sure that I get the right height for it is what I'm trying to do, and make sure that it's pretty flat when I go to cut it. I don't want no hassles. This mark's a little high. Gotta be careful with this. You know, you want it as perfect as nothing is, but look. You set it flat on the plywood, and you got the plywood reasonably the same on all sides, and you should get an okay cut. You can always trim it or start over. Whatever suits you. You know, this stuff is cheap and seems to work pretty well for this job. Again, we're going to have to cover this in shrink wrap is what I'm going to use, but you can use anything. You know, that stuff for cooking or saran wrap or whatever. All of it will work about the same. Even like this, it's tricky. It tends to fool your eye because it's got the spin, and that's just what it does. It's kind of weird, but you know, you'll see in the end it'll cut reasonably straight as long as I can keep the saw reasonably straight. You just go around and, you know, connect it up. No big deal. I want to use a pretty, you know, new Sharpie for this job so that you are, you know, have a thin line and have some fat blurry line there that's not going to do you a whole bunch of good in the end. Let's see. Like I said, this bad boy can be a little deceiving. Again, do the best you can. It'll all work out just fine. And if you're the owner, you'll be glad you did this. If you're a person getting into this trade, you'll be glad you did it, you know, because you're going to be saving money by not buying this thing prefab and, you know, using one that's already just bought from the factory. Although I don't even know, these burners are kind of old. I don't know if they're still making these for the burner. So it's another reason to learn how to do this. Because sometimes you go to buy something and guess what? It's obsolete. So stand by just one second. I'm going to go get the saw again. All right, back. Lid. And set this out here. End up at the same spot you started at, that's good. Okay. Reasonably flat. Now this bad boy is probably going to be just a hair tall for this, but it's okay. We're going to make it work. Pretty good. Should be able to get a nice finish, because what I'll do is I'll put this on here. I always want to listen, and then you wipe off the excess crackery. So now do is just make a couple cuts in this bad boy right here, because I like it to fit inside the hole. So for that to happen, you have to give it a little relief. Nothing major, 1/4 inch, do the trick. Just make, go around it, make some cuts, and it'll sit right in that hole. This is, frankly, it's a little bigger than, so the OD of this is bigger than the ID of that hole right there, but let's call it civil service work, and good enough. Watch your fingers when you're doing this job, or doing this. These blades are not very forgiving. err on the side of caution. I may have to make some of these a little deeper, but make them too deep, then you're starting over. So, you know, take little bites at the job, and you'll always play it safe and not waste a bunch of material and not have to redo things, which is kind of annoying actually. What I'm trying to do is get a little curve in there and make it seat inside. And yeah, we're going to have to cut that just a hair more. Oh, we'll get it. Maybe I'll have Amanda like fast forward or just edit this part out. I don't know. Alright, you know what? You guys can just fast forward beyond this if you want. Give that a try. folding it in, make it diameter less, so I can get in that inside that bracket, inside that steel hole, and pretty damn close. Probably going to do the trick. What I'm going to have to do is duct tape this guy in there, but now it's, you know, it's within reason. And the lid should sit just fine in there now. I'm thinking, give or take. Yep. How about that? Well, all right. So what I'm going to end up doing is duct taping the edges here to avoid any leaks. Duct taping around here, and then running duct tape up through here. And you know, I've got you on a tripod, so I don't know how well you're going to see this. Let me give it a roll. But you kind of, let's see if you can see that. Yeah, there you go. There's the hole, and then all the way around it. And then what I'll do is I'll take measurements on each of these corners and make sure that they're reasonably even. But see, that's all the area we're going to be filling. So I have to pull this back out, the sonotube or the form, and I have to protect it with some shrink wrap or something to that effect, so that when I pour in there, it's not going to just soften that unprotected cardboard up. And then once I do that, then we can pour. And I'm going to try to do this probably, tomorrow night.